Hey, what's good, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How y'all doing? It looks like we just planned this thing perfectly. So let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me and just type it to me here. How y'all doing? It looks like we got some breaking news with Kawhi Leonard and what I got planned for this live. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I know it's been a while, but we're going to do a quick live real quick. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Hey, welcome in. How y'all doing? Let me just give it a few minutes for everybody to come on in. We can hear you. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. All right. All right. All right. So let's just give it a few minutes. I just got a quick update from ESPN that Kawhi Leonard just declined his player option. So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into the free agency for the Clippers. This video is going to be primarily focused on the Clippers, but we just did a video on the Lakers, so I want to focus on this. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys for joining in. Okay, fantastic. Marco's also here, but he's not really controlling the chat, but he's Marco can't control the chat right now. I'm not sure. He might be. I'm not sure, but Marco's also here. So say what's good to Marco, and let's give everybody, like, let's say 2 minutes to get in here, and then we'll get started. Let me pull up this Kawhi Leonard news, and then we'll get it going. Deuce the Dawn, what's good? Deuce the Dawn, what's good? It's been a minute. It's been a while. So let me just get this news here with Kawhi Leonard while people come in, and then we'll get it going because we didn't have that planned, and this news just came out just 4 minutes ago. And Kawhi Leonard just declined his player option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Kawhi Leonard, and then we'll go in reverse with some of the things that I have to say. So make sure y'all hit the likes. How y'all doing? Make sure Akeem, how you doing? Welcome in. Make sure you guys hit the likes. Let's give it about another minute and a half, and then we'll get started. It's been a while since we did this, but tomorrow we're going to be doing more lives, given the fact that free agency is starting. So let me just give you guys a few seconds to just catch up to this live, and make sure y'all hit the likes. Possibly so, Kato. Possibly so. Possibly so. We're really going to be diving into the cap right now. So let me just pull up this information here on Kawhi Leonard. Let me go to ESPN.com and let me give everybody like a minute or so to get up to catch up to this live before we get started, because I want to have some fun with this. Okay, here's the news right here. Okay, fantastic. If you guys hear a lot of noise in the background, like breathing, that's just my computer hyperventilating. So just give it, it'll go away in a few moments. So I have the information here, and let me just see where you guys are at. Okay, let's give it another minute, and then we'll get started. Just allow everybody to catch up, and then we'll get started. Hey, how you doing from Greece? CP3 declined. Okay, I didn't know that. Chris Paul is extremely expensive, believe it or not. Chris Paul is extremely expensive. He's extremely expensive. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm going to give it 20 more seconds and we'll get started, and then whoever catches up will catch up to it. Hey, how you doing? Welcome in from Cali. I see you guys out there. Welcome in. Let's give it about 20 more seconds and we'll get it going. We're going to have a lot of fun with this live today. What's good from Compton? Welcome in. Welcome in. Okay, so let's get it started. Let's get it started. Okay, so once again, guys, we are back. We're going to be covering some lives. Welcome in from Maryland, the hometown. Welcome in from Maryland. I see you guys here. So here we go. Okay, so I had a live originally planned to talk about the Clippers and their free agency, given the fact that free agency is going to start tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's when teams will be able to negotiate with players and sign them, all of these different things. However, players can do different things in preparation for free agency. And it looks like Kawhi Leonard just turned down his player option for $36 million. This news just dropped a few minutes ago. So I'm going to read it off of ESPN.com. And it basically said, I can link it here in the description for you guys that are coming in a little bit. So you guys can definitely check it out and read it for yourselves. I've linked that in the comment section there. And basically, ESPN is saying that Kawhi Leonard has declined his $36 million player option for next season to become a free agent. Sources have confirmed with Adrian Wojnarowski. The expectation is that Kawhi Leonard will renegotiate a new deal to stay with the Los Angeles Clippers. Yahoo Sports first reported that Kawhi Leonard declined his option. Okay, so that's really the first news that I want to get into here. Kawhi Leonard turning down his player option and what this potentially means for the Clippers moving forward. Then I'm going to get into my breakdown. Trust me, you guys do not want to miss this because you're going to need to know a lot of this information going into free agency tomorrow in less than 24 hours. So you guys want to stick around for this live. Hey, welcome in from Toronto. I see you. British Columbia, what's good? Welcome in, welcome in. Anyway, so what does this mean? Kawhi Leonard earlier said that he was going to turn down his player option. For those people who may not be sure what exactly that means is this. The player option essentially allows the player to pick up an option to either play an additional year for a set amount of dollars, in this case, or in Kawhi Leonard's case, it was for $36 million, or he could turn down or decline the player option and decide to become a free agent. When the guy becomes a free agent, welcome in from Hawaii, he could then now make a number of decisions. Number one, by becoming a free agent, it can allow him to talk to other teams that may be interested in him. Maybe he may just go out there and test the waters to see what different packages teams have for him. So he can test the waters, see what teams are doing. That's number one. Number two, it can then allow him to sign a longer contract with the team that he was originally with, or he can sign a long-term contract with another team entirely that's not the team that he was originally with. This is basically what it allows him to do. Now, he can sign different type of contracts depending on what he's trying to do. So that's one thing with Kawhi Leonard. LeBron James is doing like a 1 year, and then he'll keep going, change, and then do a 1 year. And the reason LeBron James was doing that was because LeBron didn't want the organization to get too complacent and feel like, okay, we got this guy locked up long-term for maybe 4 or 5 years. So now we don't have to make as many moves. But if he keeps the pressure of possibly being able to leave that organization, then he holds the leverage, because he could be like, I don't like what you guys are doing. If you don't do this, I'm leaving next year. So that was one of the reasons that LeBron James was doing that, especially with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Good. So you guys know that. Fantastic. Now let's move forward. By Kawhi Leonard doing this, it does a few things. Okay. If he decides to become and by the way, another bit of information is this. I just found out that not only players but teams can decline player options. For example, Andre Iguodala of the Miami Heat wanted to pick up his player option, but the Miami Heat decided to decline it. And by declining it, basically, they declined that contract option for whatever the number was. I think it was like $7 million or $9 million. I don't remember what it was. And now Andre Iguodala is a free agent. And essentially what I think it means is that he now needs to find a new home. That's what I think just happened with Andre Iguodala. This news just dropped not too long ago. You guys can check it out, I think, on ESPN, their Instagram account, or NBA.com, or NBA. You can check it out on their Instagram. I saw it a few hours ago. So teams can also decline player options. Now, I'll give you an example of a Clipper that recently picked up a player option, which was Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka had a player option for $9.7 or $9.2 million with the Clippers, and he picked up the option, which means that Serge Ibaka will be back with the Clippers next season for 1 year. For 1 year. Now, for Kawhi Leonard to pick up a $36 million player option really makes no sense. Why? Because if he does pick up a 1 year option for $36 million, what if next season he gets injured? If he gets injured, then his market value will drop significantly. So whatever he would have been able to earn right now will be drastically smaller next year. I think that's kind of what happened to Isaiah Thomas with the Boston Celtics, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what happened, if I'm not mistaken. But I think the mistake that Isaiah Thomas made was he had an injury, he forced it. Then when he became a free agent, I think he lost money in the free agent in the free agency market. I think that's what happened with him. So that kind of explains Kawhi Leonard. Now, let me tell you guys what I think about Kawhi Leonard declining this player option. First of all, I think it's something that the Clippers expected. I think the Clippers expected Kawhi Leonard to opt out because he said this months ago. And I think it's quite normal. I do think of all of the teams out there currently, I still think the Clippers give him a best shot to go to the NBA Finals, short of signing with the Lakers or the Brooklyn Nets. But if you look at all the other teams, the Clippers give them the best shot to get back to the NBA Finals, right? Now, if we had the Golden State Warriors and they were healthy, then one could say maybe the Golden State Warriors, with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, probably so. But given the fact that the Golden State Warriors are not at full strength, Draymond Green is getting a little bit older, and Klay Thompson is coming off of an injury, I don't think Golden State is a good option for him. Personally, I think if Klay was healthy before, then it would work. But this is just my first. This is my opinion. I think right now Kawhi Leonard is most likely leaning towards re-signing with the Clippers. This is what I think. I don't think Kawhi Leonard could look at the Clippers, look at what they accomplished this year in the playoffs, look at how hard they fought, look at how well Tyronn Lue coached the team, looked at all of that and said, okay, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go sign with another team. Now, some people say that maybe he may leave because of they misdiagnosed an injury. I don't know how true that is, but according to Skip Bayless in his reporting, that's what they said. Now, some people have thrown out the option of the Dallas Mavericks. I don't see him signing with the Dallas Mavericks under no circumstances. Number one, I think what will happen with Kawhi Leonard is that if he signs with Dallas, he will go there and get frustrated. He will be frustrated. The only argument you can make for Kawhi Leonard to sign with the Dallas Mavericks would be to avoid the state tax because you don't pay taxes in Texas. That's the only reason. But if it's for basketball purposes, it makes no sense. The Dallas Mavericks don't play defense. Luka Doncic is a ball dominant forward that rarely passes the ball. Number one. Number two, he doesn't play great defense. So I don't see how Kawhi Leonard and Luka can be successful as far as winning a championship when Luka is the primary decision maker and he dominates the ball. Kawhi Leonard, I don't think him and Luka Doncic would fit. I think they'll be good on an all-star team together, but an NBA team, I don't think so. I think that would be a lot of star power that doesn't really fit together properly. This is just my opinion. Some people may feel otherwise. This is just my opinion. So, as it stands right now, Kawhi Leonard is going to be a free agent, and I think there's a high likelihood that he re-signs with the Clippers. This is just me. The guy has also invested a lot of money in LA. I think he has a house out there in California, but I think they said he bought a very expensive apartment, I think for $17 million in downtown LA. That's a lot of money to put down just to turn around 1 year later and say, I'm out of here. That's just my opinion. Now, I don't know, but this is just my personal opinion. I don't think you cough up $17 million for then just to turn around a year later and say, well, I'm leaving. Now, some people say, well, he could just come back and stay there in the summertime. Well, you already have a house in San Diego. So why would you have a house in LA and a house in San Diego when most of your time is going to be spent in San Diego and you have a $17 million apartment in LA when you spend most of your time? So to me, I don't think it makes sense, but this is just me and I don't know. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on that. Now, let me get into the original topic here. For those of the people that are coming in, Kawhi Leonard has decided to turn down his player option with the Clippers, and he's going to go into the free agency market as a free agent. He will become an unrestricted free agent, so he can sign with any team. Someone said he bought a home in Toronto. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how true that is. I don't know. I don't know. So I can't verify that or disagree with that. I don't know. So anyway, free agency officially starts tomorrow, and I got a lot of stuff that I want to get into about this. For a lot of people that have some questions or free agency may be a little bit foggy to you, you definitely want to stick around so you're not as confused during the week, so you know exactly what the heck is going on. Now, obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a player agent. I'm not an agent, an NBA agent. So you're not going to get, like a deep analysis. But I'm going to try to give you guys enough information so you guys kind of understand what the heck is going on right now. So let me give you guys some of the top free agents out there right now in the NBA. Some of the top free agents. We have Kawhi Leonard, who had a player option. You have Chris Paul. You have Kyle Lowry, who's an unrestricted free agent. You have John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks. You have Mike Conley, who's an unrestricted free agent. You have DeMar DeRozan, who's an unrestricted free agent. You have Lonzo Ball. You have Jared Allen. You have Dennis Schroeder and Duncan Robinson. These are like kind of the top 10 big names out there, right? These are the main guys that are kind of floating out there. Of all of these guys, obviously, the Clippers can't get all of them. They can't go after all of them, right? Obviously. And they don't need all of these guys. Their number one priority in this case would be Kawhi Leonard. And then I think once they re-sign Kawhi Leonard, we're really talking about Reggie Jackson and Nicholas Batum. This is really what we're talking about here, right? The Clippers' current top free agents are Reggie Jackson, Nicholas Batum, and DeMarcus Cousins. These are their top free agents. Okay, these are the top free agents. During these playoffs, the Los Angeles Clippers would not have made it to the Western Conference Finals without Reggie Jackson. There's just no way that the Clippers make it to the Western Conference Finals without Reggie. It would have been impossible. Early in the season, I was very wrong about Reggie Jackson because what I said was he reminded me a lot of Lou Williams and he didn't play defense. Reggie Jackson in the second half of the season picked up his offense while playing great defense. He played better defense these playoffs than he played last year in the playoffs. Reggie Jackson was a crucial piece for this Clippers playoff run this year. I don't think anyone that saw the playoffs would doubt that. There's no way. He was that second option. Once Kawhi Leonard went down, it was either him or Marcus Morris Sr. They became the second option to Paul George's number one option. That's literally what happened. It was Paul George, and one night it would be Reggie, and then the other night it would be, Marcus Morris Sr., and then on some nights it will be Terrence Mann. So that's the first thing. Let's talk about Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum is what I like to call a Swiss Army knife. This guy did everything for the Clippers, and to use Jeff Van Gundy's term or whatever it is, he's a glue guy. Nicholas Batum is a very high IQ basketball player. He plays great defense. He actually is a sneaky blocker. I didn't know Nicholas Batum could block shots. Nicholas Batum played a lot of great recovery defense. I didn't even know he can block as many shots as he did. He can facilitate the ball at a very high level. Okay, winning like 96, she hates to say it, but Reggie Jackson will leave. I don't think he will leave. You guys want to stick around and hear why I think Reggie Jackson and Nicholas Batum are going to come back. So Nicholas Batum was an integral part. And DeMarcus Cousins, man. DeMarcus Cousins, the minute that Serge Ibaka went down and they needed a backup center to play behind Zubac, DeMarcus Cousins stepped up and he gave the Clippers some big minutes in these playoffs. He brought toughness. He provided a lot of spacing. He was a threat in the post. He could score. And I think that he gave him a lot. He gave the Clippers much more than Joakim Noah gave them just a year ago in the bubble. So these are their top free agents. Now I'm seeing in the comments that a lot of people seem to be they seem to be a little bit skeptical of the Clippers being able to bring back these guys. And let me give you guys my reason why I believe the Clippers are going to bring them back. So I want you guys to kind of pay attention to this part because this is where we get a little bit technical. Lawrence Frank recently said, I think 2 days ago, he said that he wants to bring back everyone. He said that he wants to bring back everyone. And the moment people hear that, they're like, well, how the hell are you going to bring back everyone when these guys are going to be more expensive? Reggie Jackson is going to be more expensive this year. If we look at Reggie Jackson's salary last season, I think he took the mid-level exception for, I think that's what he took. Reggie Jackson with the Clippers last year earned $1.6 million. Nicholas Batum earned $1.6 million. Okay. So basically, they got them for pennies on the dollar. And DeMarcus Cousins signed for $233,000. That's how much they paid for DeMarcus Cousins. Terrence Mann earned more money than DeMarcus Cousins, and Daniel Oturu earned more money. He earned $900,000 over DeMarcus Cousins. So I want you guys to kind of understand that. Now, some people are going to be saying, well, exactly. Do you think it will take more than $5.7 million to keep Batum? No, I don't think it'll go up that high, Tori. I don't think the number is going to go up that high, but I'm going to give you guys kind of a mathematical explanation mixed in with some logic as to why I think they can bring back these guys. So just stick around with me here. So I want to talk about something that a lot of people don't spend enough time talking about, which is I want to talk about the salary cap and the luxury tax. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. Now, first of all, what is the salary cap? The salary cap essentially is the maximum amount of money a given team can spend on salaries. That's all it is. As it stands, the 2021 NBA salary cap for the Los Angeles Clippers is $136 million. I want you guys to kind of write that down or keep that there somewhere because you're going to need to remember that number. The Clippers' current salary cap is $136 million. $136 million. So keep that number in mind. That salary cap includes player's salary. To answer your question, I think they should get rid of Rondo. That includes, they may have to pay him for it. And anyway, I'll get back to that later. That includes players that are already under contract, players with contracts that will expire that could possibly re-sign with the team because they have things that they call salary placeholders. But the Clippers' current salary cap, and let me share it with you here, right here, so you guys can see it, so you don't think I'm pulling these numbers out of the moon. Let me just pin it to the top right here, so you guys can kind of refer to that. So the Clippers' current, it should pin to the top. I think I pinned it. Okay, yeah, it should go to the top in a second. Okay, there it is. So that's the current salary cap table. The Clippers, their salary cap is $136 million. Okay. And they're $12 million in the luxury tax. Now, some people will say, what the hell is a luxury tax? The luxury tax essentially is money that you pay. It's a tax that the NBA levies on a team for every dollar they go above their salary cap. So right now, as it stands, the Clippers have a $136 million salary cap, but they're paying $148 million because they're $12 million above the salary cap. Okay, if you guys look at that table, you'll see it there. They're paying, the current luxury tax is $12 million, $148,000. That's what the Clippers are paying. So essentially, the Clippers they're already above the salary cap. Now, some people say, well, what the hell is a luxury tax? Can you give me a more definitive breakdown? Fantastic. The luxury tax works as this. This is as of November 20th, 2020. This is how they currently have it set up. Now, the luxury tax is a progressive tax, meaning that for every dollar over the line between 1 million and 5 million, teams are taxed 150. For every dollar above the salary cap line from $1 to $5 million, the team must pay a $1.50 luxury tax on every dollar. So if you go above the salary cap by $1 million, $1 million, and you're above the salary cap, it means that they're going to tax you $1.5 million. That's between the threshold of 1 to 5. So as it currently stands, the Clippers are already above the luxury tax. As we're sitting here speaking right now, the Clippers are already above the luxury tax. That's number one. Number two, if you go then from 5 million to 9.9 million, teams are going to be taxed $1.75 for every dollar spent in that bracket from 5 million to 10 million. So it's essentially just a tax that teams have to pay. Now, some people will ask, okay, that makes sense. So if they're going to pay a tax, if they're going to go above the salary cap to get more players, who's going to pay the luxury tax? And this is where I come in with the original title of this video, their secret advantage, and Steve Ballmer. This is where we bring in Steve Ballmer. People are not talking about it. People are talking about the Clippers can't afford this. The people are talking about the Clippers can't afford that. And you're forgetting the fact that Steve Ballmer is the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. Let me explain to you guys exactly what that means. Make sure you guys hit the like button, guys. Make sure you guys get the likes so we can get the likes to 100 likes. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Appreciate that. So, thank you. Tori's already beginning to put 2 and 2 together. Thank you, Tori. Thank you. Who is Steve Ballmer? Steve Ballmer is the former CEO of Microsoft Computers. Steve Ballmer currently has a net worth of $100 million. Let me repeat that again. Steve Ballmer has a net worth of $100 billion. I want you guys to keep that number in the back of your mind because it makes a lot of this stuff that we're talking about look like chump change. Now, some people will say, so what if Steve Ballmer is worth $100 billion? What does that have to do with the salary cap? It has everything to do with it, and I'll tell you why. The first question you have to ask yourself, because Steve Ballmer is the one that's signing these checks. He's the boss of the team. The first question you have to ask yourself is this. Will Steve Ballmer be willing to bring back Reggie Jackson and Nicholas Batum if he thinks they will help him win a championship? For anybody that watched the Clippers in these playoffs, who was the number one fan at every single game, whether it be at home or on the road? Y'all tell me, who was their number one cheerleader throughout the entire playoffs? The Clippers. And don't say Clipper Darrell. Who was the Clippers' number one cheer? It was Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer was at every game cheering like a fan, which means to me, which signifies to me that Ballmer is very passionate about basketball and he's very passionate about winning. And you cannot overlook or discount passion. People will spend money on things that they're passionate about. When it comes time to spend money on an emotional thing that you emotionally connect to, money no longer becomes an issue. Somebody can spend $1 million on a car if it makes them feel good and they can afford it. A woman can spend $25,000 on a bag if it makes her feel good. Is it an investment? No. It's not about an investment. It's about what makes me happy. And if it makes me happy, I'm going to do it, regardless if it makes business sense. The guy is worth $100 billion. What we're talking about right now is pennies to him. It is pennies to this guy. It means nothing except to the people that are arguing about it. That's the first thing. Now, some people might say, okay, fine, he may be passionate, but how does that mean? How does that prove that Ballmer will be willing to spend money? Thank you for asking. The Clippers, ever since Steve Ballmer picked up the team, ever since he bought the team, Ballmer said that he wanted the Clippers to have a new arena in Inglewood. And do you know what Steve Ballmer did when he became the owner of the Clippers? Steve Ballmer said, I'm going to build the Clippers a brand new arena, something he doesn't have to do. Ryan Newsom, if a player on a championship team decides to resign the next year to have a pay cut to run it back, is it a good idea? Well, it depends. It depends. I think Dwayne Wade has done something like that in the past. I think it all depends on where you are financially, how far along you are in your career, and how badly you want to win. I think it's a great question, but I think in that case, it comes down to the individual and also what time it is in their career. If they feel like they can earn some more money down the road, then maybe they may do so. But it may also hurt them, because if a team sees that they're willing to accept less money, then in the future it may hurt them. But Dwayne Wade did that. Exactly. Dwayne Wade did that. So possibly Dirk Nowitzki did that. I think Tom Brady did that. If I'm not mistaken. Tom Brady did that in the past. If I'm not mistaken, I think he did. I'm not sure. Some of the football fans, you guys can verify with me, but I think Tom Brady did that with the New England Patriots. I think he did that a few times, but thank you so much for the question. But I think he did that. Anyway, Ballmer came to the Clippers and said, I'm going to build a new arena. He went out there and bought the land. Do y'all know how much Steve Ballmer paid for the land for the new arena he's going to buy? Do y'all know how much he paid for the land? $66 million. 66. The old Forum building, he paid $400 million in cash. He paid $400 million in cash for the Forum. That's what he spent in cash to buy that new arena. We're sitting here talking about $2 or $3 or $5 million. Okay, he paid $400 million. Then he bought the Clippers. If they do that, it will hurt or help them more. If they do that, will that hurt or help them more? I think it will help the team because the team spends less. Ultimately, from a team standpoint, it allows them more wiggle room. But I think a lot of that is predicated on the ownership of the team and where the team is exactly. If you told the Washington Wizards to go into the luxury tax, the owner will probably take off his shoes and beat the hell out of you. The Washington Wizards are not going into the Washington Wizards are not going to go into the luxury tax for salaries. But if it's a team that's contending, absolutely they will. Thank you for the question. Anyway, back to my point. Steve Ballmer, the arena is slated to cost $1.2 billion. Now, some people say, well, so what? But what I'm saying is money is not an object to this guy. When Ballmer bought the team, he paid $2 billion for the Clippers. He paid $2 billion. Now, the net worth of the Clippers organization, the net worth of the Clippers is $2.75 billion. So he's actually made $750 million. He's made a $750 million profit on the team. A $750 million profit is what he's made on the team, which accounts for 2.75% of his net worth. $2.75 billion is 2.75% of Steve Ballmer's net worth. This thing is like a project to him. Somebody left a comment. Jackson and Batum resigned. Kawhi resigns as well, but something tells me he's working secretly and trying to bring someone else to the team. Kyle Lowry. It could be possible. It could be possible, but Kyle Lowry is extremely expensive. It could be possible. I wouldn't be surprised about that because Kawhi Leonard is very shrewd and working in the background. I think him and LeBron James are very good at doing that. Him and LeBron James are very, very good at doing that. So Steve Ballmer is already making his money, and I think the guy will be willing to go into salary cap into the luxury tax if he wins. Now, some people may ask the question: why do some teams spend so much money just to win a championship? And I'll tell you why. Whenever an NBA team wins a championship, the team itself becomes more valuable. Number one, look at the Lakers. Number one. Number two, it allows you, the team, to charge more for those box seats and the seats at the arena. You can charge more. That's number two. Number three, you gain more fans. And the more fans you gain means you will sell more merchandise and you will sell more tickets. For those of you guys that didn't know, 40% of the revenue that the NBA generates or teams generate comes from ticket sales. So if you have a team that is winning championships, you're going to be selling a lot of tickets and you're going to be making a lot of money. If you guys want a good example of that, think of the Miami Heat. Y'all remember the Miami Heat before they won the championship with Dwayne Wade? Do y'all remember? The Miami Heat stadium was never that packed. The minute Dwayne Wade won the title, you started seeing people coming to the arena wearing white. Then remember when LeBron James came to the Miami Heat and they were going to championships back to back year. That place always used to be packed. It always used to be packed because it was the number one show or one of the number one shows in the NBA. The same thing with the Lakers. The Lakers have such a huge fan base that whenever that team travels, their fan base travels with them. Every arena you go to in the NBA, you will see Laker fans in the arena. That is a byproduct of 16 championships. That's what that is. So championships actually make teams more valuable. And that's one of the reasons they do that. Another reason is if your team wins, it becomes an attractive destination for free agents in the future because everybody wants to be associated with winning. How do I know this? Look at Andre Drummond. Y'all remember when Andre Drummond went to go sign with the Lakers last season? He was playing with the Detroit Pistons. He was getting his numbers. Look at how life changed the moment he went from playing with the Detroit Pistons, no disrespect to the Detroit Pistons, then when he went to go play with the Lakers. Number one, he became the national talk of the town because now he's playing for the Lakers. You're no longer just playing for any NBA team. You're playing on the Lakers. It enhanced his brand. I guarantee you he got more fans by doing that. So it's a big thing. And all of this comes down to money, something of which Steve Ballmer has buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets, bucket loads of money. Now, right now, the Clippers' current cap space, I don't know if they've adjusted this after this Kawhi Leonard news. They have about $49 million in cap space. You guys can look at it on that thing that I printed at the top, that I tagged to the top, the link. They have about $49 million in cap space. So this is what they could currently do, given the fact that they have a $136 million threshold and they're already above the luxury tax by $12 million. Now, some people may say there's no way that the Clippers can afford to bring back Reggie Jackson and Nicholas Batum, even if Reggie Jackson wants more money. And I'm going to tell you guys right now exactly how they'll do that. If Reggie Jackson, Reggie Jackson last season, let me put it up here. I'm getting this from basketballreference.com. So you guys can look at it right here. You guys can look at that. Let me read Ryan's comment. Trez and Kuzma to the Nets make Nets even more deeper. Have they gone to the Nets? Did Trez and Kuzma to the Nets? Did they get traded to the Nets? No. Did they? Let me see. Did that happen? Let me check. Brooklyn Nets. Did they get anybody? Okay, I haven't heard anything yet. But I want you guys to take a look at that chart. Okay. So Reggie Jackson was paid $1.6 million. Nicholas Batum was paid 1.6 million last year. So the question is, what if Reggie Jackson went from wanting 1.6 million to 7.5 million, for example, right? Or 7 million. Y'all may ask the question, how the hell are the Clippers going to be able to afford them? I want to give you guys a very interesting bit of information that I didn't know. Let me give you guys the top 10 teams in the NBA right now that are paying the highest luxury tax. For the people that just came into the live that are joining us now, make sure you guys hit the like button, guys. Would appreciate that. Appreciate that. For the people that just joined the live right now, the luxury tax, let me just reiterate it for the people that just joined. The luxury tax is a progressive tax, meaning that for every dollar a team spends over $1 to $5 million over the cap, is they tax you $1.50. If it's between 5 million to 10 million, you're paying $1.75 per dollar. So if you go over this luxury tax by $1 million, you are going to be spending, or you're going to be paying $1.5 million, an additional $1.5 million in a luxury tax. So that's what that is for the new people that just came into the live. Let me give you guys the biggest teams paying the highest salary cap in the luxury tax right now. The teams with the highest luxury tax right now in the NBA are the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are paying $30 million in luxury tax. $30 million in the luxury tax. The number 2 team is the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are paying $26 million in luxury tax. Now, for some people saying, what do you mean, can I show proof? It's right here. I'm not, you think I'm making these numbers up? It's right there. They're paying $26 million in luxury tax. Some people may say, why are they spending that much money in luxury tax? Because the team is trying to win a championship. And when you're trying to win a championship, you're not thinking about the luxury tax. Teams that are competing for championships are always in the luxury tax. The Clippers are the number 3 team in the NBA in a luxury tax, paying $12 million. You know the other team that's $7 million in a luxury tax? The Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks are another team. So these teams have money to spend. The question is, will they be willing to do it? I think the Clippers will be willing to do it. I think the Brooklyn Nets will be willing to do it. That's why they're paying all of these exorbitant salaries. And I think Ballmer has just enough money to do it. When you have an owner that's worth $100 billion, you can afford to pay. Going over by 10, 15 makes no difference. Now, obviously, Ballmer he's not stupid. He's not going to let you just beat him over the head with any type of number you guys want to ask for. But I think the Clippers, if they want to go into the luxury tax, they will. And that's the reason why Lawrence Frank said, we want to bring back everybody. Lawrence Frank said that, which means that he is 100% aware of the current luxury tax situation and the current cap situation. So I think this puts the Clippers in the driver's seat. I think this puts them in the driver's seat. They can afford to do it. The question is, will they do it? This is the question. I see we got some comedians in the house tonight. Anyway, so that's what. So that's the position that they're in now. To kind of close it out, here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Clippers are going to re-sign Kawhi Leonard. This is what I think. I think they're going to re-sign Kawhi Leonard. I think that they're going to at least re-sign either Nicholas Batum or Reggie Jackson. Now, some people will ask, who would you rather have, Nicholas Batum or Reggie Jackson if you had to pick? I think is a very, very, very tough question. I think is a tough question because I think the Clippers need both of those guys. Nicholas Batum gives the Clippers a lot. He gives the Clippers a lot. I know it doesn't show up on the box sheet. He's not a very flashy player, but he gives them a lot. He's a great two-way player. He can shoot the three. He can, he spaces the floor. He can defend. He's a great passer. He looks like a very good locker room guy. And I don't think you can just give up Nicholas Batum. I don't think you can. But Reggie Jackson, on any given night, can come off the bench and give you 25 points. And given the fact that the Clippers are going to be without Kawhi Leonard for at least 7 to 8 months, you're going to need that second score, third score for Paul George and Marcus Morris Sr. So it's going to be tough. It's really a toss-up because if you add one and you lose the other one, you've lost something. So I think they need to try their best to sign him. Now, some people have asked the question, what about Rajon Rondo? Why don't they get rid of Rondo? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Clippers have Rondo under contract for an additional year. And they have to pay him $7.5 million next year. I know that's going to piss off a lot of people. For those of you guys who are wondering, where am I getting these numbers from? This is the Clippers' current salary table right there. I just pinned it right there. Basketball Reference. You guys can go look at him. Look at it right there. The Clippers have to pay Rondo $7.5 million. $7.5 million. And trust me, I know a lot of Clipper fans right now, if they had the option, they would rather split that $7.5 million between Reggie Jackson and Nicholas Batum, but it can't work like that. And some people may say, well, you got to trade. You can trade Rondo. Just trade him. The problem with trading Rondo is this. Although Rondo is a great playoff performer, Rajon Rondo is an older point guard. He's 35 years old. He's 35 years old. So if the Clippers were going to trade him, ideally or hypothetically, I think they'll be looking to trade him to another championship contender. But if you trade him, that doesn't really solve your problem because it doesn't release the dollars. So I don't think the Clippers can get rid of Rondo. How can you get rid of him? What are you going to do? Waive him? If you waive him, you still have to pay him. So if you trade him, you're going to get back another asset, which doesn't clear up space. And it's not like as if the players you want to keep are on another team. Because if they're on another team, then you can just trade him and try to get salaries that match. So I think the Clippers are going to be stuck with Rondo. I think they're going to be stuck with Rondo, and I think that the Clippers are going to have to work their magic around the cap space and try to get Reggie and these guys to come back, or try to get them to take less money. That's another option. That could also happen. Now, I don't know how it works. I've never owned an NBA team. I've never personally owned a team. I don't know if maybe Ballmer can say, accept this amount of money and I'll transfer you the rest of your money to your account. I don't know if that's possible. I don't even know if that's legal. I don't know if that's legal, and I don't know if you can do that. But they have to work with what they work with, and they can't get rid of Rondo. But now they're bringing back Serge, which lets me know that they probably will get rid of Boogie unless Boogie decides to stay again for the minimum salary of $233,000. Will he be willing to do that? I don't know. But then also the Clippers they signed Yogi Ferrell for a 2-year deal. And Yogi Ferrell is going to earn $1.9 million next year. And there's no way in hell that Yogi Ferrell is going to earn more money than Reggie Jackson. There's no way. So the Clippers have some very expensive contracts. They have Patrick Beverley. You can't just get rid of Beverley because it doesn't really solve your problem. You have a Vitsa Zubac, and he's going to be earning $7.5 million, and he deserves every single penny of his money. You have Luke Kennard, and some people may say Luke Kennard is earning too much because Luke Kennard is going to be earning $12 million next year. Luke Kennard is going to be earning more next year than Serge Ibaka, Rajon Rondo, Nicholas Batum, and Reggie Jackson combined. No, not combined, but just about. So I just think that probably that Luke Kennard was a bad contract. What about Terrence Mann? Somebody said Terrence Mann. And Terrence Mann is only earning 1.7. That's what it looks like. Terrence Mann is under contract for 2. That's what it says right here, unless he's going to be they're going to renegotiate a new contract. But as it stands right now, I don't think Terrence Mann is not a free agent. Terrence Mann is not a free agent. I think is in his next contract, this Terrence Mann is going to be able to argue for more dollars. Terrence Mann is not a free Terrence Mann. I don't think Terrence Mann is not a free agent. The Clippers' current free agents are Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Patterson, Keon Johnson, who they just picked up, Nicholas Batum, DeMarcus Cousins, Reggie Jackson, Amir Kofi. So I think they just have to find a way to get one of these two players. This is just my opinion. Now, if they get all of these guys and they resign all of them and Kawhi Leonard comes back, can the Lakers still get Stephen Curry? I'm not sure if the Lakers can get Stephen Curry. I mean, can they do it? I mean, we're talking about the Lakers here, but if I look at the Lakers right now, let me see. I think I can pull it up here because I do have the Lakers salary table. The Lakers, okay, they haven't even put in Russell Westbrook, but the Lakers have some pretty expensive salaries. They have some pretty expensive salaries. They're going to be paying LeBron James this year $41 million. Then next year, they're going to be paying him $44 million. And he's going to be 30. LeBron is probably 38 years old next year. About 38 years old. And then you have Anthony Davis. I think Russell Westbrook must be earning. Let's see, Russell Westbrook salary. Russell Westbrook must be earning. Russell Westbrook is earning $41 million. And I think that is a bad contract. I'm sorry. If I were the Lakers, I would have tried to get Damian Lillard. I would have preferred Damian Lillard. $41 million for Russell Westbrook, and he can't shoot? This is not a diss to Russell Westbrook. I think the Lakers would have done better with Damian Lillard. Personally. And who knows what's going to happen with Damian Lillard, because Damian Lillard is still under contract and Damian Lillard can still request a trade. But $41 million for Russell, and he can't shoot? Just imagine if the Lakers had, instead of Russell Westbrook, they got Damian Lillard. Now you got something to be scared of. You got Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. Oh, that team will be tough. Somebody's saying 44. But Russell, I don't know. I just don't know how they do that. You know, somebody said Damian Lillard to the Clippers. Who knows? Kawhi Leonard can do anything. Who knows? But 40, I still don't know why they got Russell Westbrook. Yes, he's going to take away the ball handling responsibilities from LeBron. But Russell Westbrook can't shoot. I want to give you guys a bit of information about Russell Westbrook. And this is not a diss to Russell Westbrook, but I think if Laker fans are listening to this information should be alarming to you. Laker fans, if you're listening to this, I want to give you guys a stat that's going to alarm the hell out of you. 2 years ago, Russell Westbrook was playing with the Houston Rockets. I want you guys to think about, just remember this. 2 years ago, what happened when the Rockets got Russell Westbrook? Do y'all know what happened? When he got to the Rockets, Russell Westbrook was having problems with scoring because he couldn't shoot open threes. They told him, stop shooting. Stop shooting. Hey, welcome in, Fred. He said, stop shooting. You can't make threes. But since Russell Westbrook could not make threes, Clint Capella was clogging up the paint. So in order for Russell Westbrook to be effective, the Houston Rockets needed to trade away Clint Capella so he would no longer clog the lane. And from that point forward, I think Russell Westbrook led the NBA in points in the paint. That's what happened. He led the NBA in points in the paint. They had to get rid of Clint Capella. Now, Laker fans, I'm talking to you I'm trying to analyze this from this situation for you. What was one of the issues that Anthony Davis had last season when he was playing? One of the issues he had with him was that Andre Drummond hurt the Lakers' spacing. He hurt the Lakers' spacing, and AD actually became more effective when Drummond got off the floor. So because he clogs up the paint, you got to ask yourself this question. If Russell Westbrook is shooting 30% from the three-point line for his career, last season I think he shot 50-something percent or 60-something percent from the free throw line, how is Russ going to generate his points? How is he going to generate his points? LeBron is not KD. KD can beat you from the perimeter for an entire game. Stephen Curry can beat you from the perimeter. These guys can live at the perimeter. They can live there, and they'll still be effective. KD, Kawhi, these guys. Giannis and these guys can't. But KD, Kawhi, these guys can. LeBron, as I said in the live, and I'm going to say it again, LeBron is a slasher that can shoot. KD is a shooter that can slash. You now take Russell Westbrook and you drop him in that equation, and your spacing is messed up. There's no spacing on the floor anymore. There's no spacing. Which means that Anthony Davis is going to be playing a lot of pick and pop. You're going to see AD keep drifting away further and further away from the paint. You're going to keep drifting further and further away from the paint. Where he's now, AD is an extremely talented player. But anybody knows the further you are away from the basket, the lower your percentages are to score. So I think they're going to have a spacing issue. Some people call me a hater, whatever, it's fine. But this is something to pay attention to. If the Lakers had Damian Lillard, the league will be in trouble. Putting Damian Lillard on that team is like putting Stephen Curry on the Lakers. If you put Stephen Curry on the Lakers, Stephen Curry is a walking one-man arsenal. Stephen Curry by himself causes defenses to tilt, to scramble by himself. You will have an entire defense keyed in on stopping Stephen Curry. And Stephen Curry is one of these guys that can hurt you even without having the ball in his hand because he's so good at moving without the ball. That's Stephen Curry. He can beat you with the ball or without the ball. If you had Stephen Curry on the Lakers, it would be over. But Russell Westbrook ain't Damian Lillard, and he ain't Stephen Curry. And that's the only issue I have. So if the Clippers get all of these guys back, absolutely, I would take Stephen Curry over Damian Lillard. I would. Yes, I would. Stephen Curry is at the top, man. Stephen Curry's at the top. Stephen Curry is one of the top 5 NBA players in the world. He's one of the top 5, in my opinion. Stephen Curry is LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Stephen Curry, and Giannis. To me, those are the top 5 NBA players in the world, and then you have everybody else. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo. These are the top 5 players. Everybody else can fight for the next 15 spots. Those are the top 5. Stephen Curry is unbelievable to me. So these are my thoughts. This is what I think is going to happen. I think the Clippers can still re-sign these guys, but they're going to have to work the cap properly, and maybe Ballmer is going to need to be able to pay a little bit more money. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for being a part of this live. We had a lot of fun. Real quick, if you guys want to follow us on Instagram for more updates on our channel, let me post the Instagram link here. We're going to be doing a lot more on Instagram. We're going to be doing a lot more on Instagram. So we posted the link right there. You guys can follow us on Instagram. We posted it right there. Also, If you guys want to chat during these playoff games and talk about basketball, I want you guys to check out Dreamers Pro Max. Just a moment here. Let me pull up the link. You guys can definitely follow us on Instagram. And if you guys want to live chat during these games and talk about the playoffs and talk about basketball and all of these different things, make sure you check out Dreamers Pro Max. We're on there. Hey, thank you, JB3, for following us. Appreciate that. Thank you for following us. JB3264. Appreciate that. Thank you for following us. Shout out to following us there. So you guys can also sign up to Dreamers Pro Max because we're going to be going heavy for free agency and stuff like that there. So once again, thank you guys for being a part of this live. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. We're going to be posting there too. So we also answer questions on there as well. So we appreciate that. And thank you guys for being a part of this live. And I guess tomorrow, free agency begins. Thank you guys for being a part of this live. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.